Pasa Raza, today we have an exciting guest for you. We call him Chino around here from Olathe, Kansas. He's got a Fleetwood that's unbelievable, super clean. Stay tuned. All right, man. Well, thank you for having us today, man. I mean, I've seen you around cruising with Juarez Car Club, and I actually remember seeing you in your Fleetwood and almost trying to chase you down just to say what's up, because I have a Fleetwood too, and I have seen a lot of them. And I don't know if you even remember, but I was in my coupe, and I think you were going up Ridgeview, and I saw you coming, and I just lifted the front end real quick.
I don't think I saw.
You didn't see that?
I'm probably, but I know I saw two Lowriders in Olathe, and one was Lonely, and I probably saw your. Oh no, actually three Lowriders in the Olathe area, but no, I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? Yeah, I was trying to kind of like get your attention, so you might turn around or whatever. But well, Chino, it's super cool to be able to interview you and to talk to you, man. I know that you just legit like joined Juarez Car Club. You're like an official member. You got the plaque. You got all that kind of stuff. But tell me, man, you know, one of the things that I think trips people out, especially some of the viewers that are not in the Midwest area, is how we get into lowriding. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into lowriding, man.
Well, lowriding has always been a passion for me since I was a child. You know, I grew up, I was in high school in the 90s, and I grew up in the 80s. And so, like, I used to build lowrider models when I was a kid. So I always had a subscription to Lowrider magazine.
Right.
Everybody I knew in high school, I mean, it didn't matter what kind of car you had. You threw some wires on there and you were lowriding.
Right.
And it didn't matter what kind of car you had, but everybody was lowriding. And my dream car was a 93 to 96 Cadillac Fleetwood, right, when I was in high school, and I always dreamt of having that car. So years later, I ended up moving to Seattle, and I got introduced to the tuner scene.
Okay.
And there was no lowriders out there.
Right.
And I just felt out of place because I didn't have a lowrider at the time, but it just seemed like a whole new world. But I embraced it. I liked the tuner scene. So I came back to Kansas eventually, years later, and basically went through some rough times in my life, and ended up being in some suffering from depression.
Right.
I was very deep in depression for about 4 years after a divorce, and I got better, and I realized that I didn't have a life. I had no friends. I had nobody to talk to. I was bored out of my mind.
Right.
So I took out a loan and went out and shopped for a lowrider. I almost bought a Lincoln, like a '64 Lincoln Continental for 20 grand, but it would have not left me much room to do any customization to it.
Right. Those are hard to do anything with. So.
Yeah. But then I found a 93 Fleetwood with only 48,000 miles on it.
Wow.
From an older lady, and she couldn't drive anymore, so I got that. I bought it and got it painted. I got wheel rims for it. I paid top dollar for everything because I didn't know anybody.
Right.
And then I started going. And once my lowrider was done, my Cadillac was done, I went and started going on Facebook, trying to find all the car meets. I was going to all the car meets almost every day. And I kept asking, you know, I'm running into muscle cars, Chargers, Challengers, a lot of tuners,
right,
Miatas and whatnot, but no lowriders. And I kept asking people, I was like, where are the other lowriders? I know they're out there. I've seen them around here and there, but not really any car meets. And so eventually I made friends with somebody. He told me at a car meet, he said, you know, I know where you can find lowriders. You need to cruise Southwest Boulevard on First Friday. So I was excited. I waited for the very first next Friday to come up, I got in my caddy by myself, and I drove up and down Southwest Boulevard, and then eventually I found a parking lot, and there was a bunch of
by the gas station.
No, this is actually Rosedale's Barbecue.
Yep.
And then the Mexican restaurant next to it. I don't know the name of it.
I know
And then
you're
there's a
talking
big
about.
parking lot right next to that.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So that was on Southwest Boulevard, and I saw like 3 or 4 lowriders parked in there, and I pulled in, and I met a few people, and everybody was coming to me, asking me questions about my caddy. And as the night progressed, more and more and more lowriders pulled in. I felt like I was in heaven. I was, finally, eventually I met Lonely, Fernando Rivera.
Yep.
From Mortis, and he was like, he walked up to me and he said, "You're in Olathe, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I've been looking for you. I've seen your caddy. I've been hunting you. I've been trying to hunt you down."
Right.
And he said he had an all-white caddy on switches, and I said, "I've seen you, and I chased you down one time, but I lost you."
Right.
And so we laughed, and he was like, "We've been chasing each other down because of our caddies." And started hanging out with them, and eventually I joined.
Well, hold on now. Before you go into that, so Lonely is the VP for Juarez Car Club here, right?
Yes.
And Juarez Car Club is a car club that originated from Juarez, Mexico, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And you are now Mexican, so tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I'm half Korean and half Irish. It's an odd combination, but that's what I am, and I just, what can I say? You don't need to be Chicano to be into low riding. As you can see, I'm proof, and Ornament has accepted me like family, and they treat me like family too.
I think that's the neat part, man. I mean, like, I think, even I, coming from California or whatever, I remember seeing Juarez, and I thought, well, I bet you everybody has to be from Juarez, you know what I mean, to be part of that club. Went under the assumption for a bit, then I met a couple of dudes that were in it that were not necessarily from Juarez, but they were, Mexican, American, or whatever. And then when I meet you, and you're like, yeah, and I see the way they treat you, they banter with you, they mess with you just like they would anybody else, and you're one of the boys. I mean, I know they just recently surprised you with a plaque. You weren't even expecting it.
Right.
And I think that speaks volumes of our culture and who we are in lowriding, that we're accepting of everybody, man. We're not, we're not discriminating on people. We just want you to be, down for lowriding for real, and then you're one of us, right? So how's your experience been in the club?
Well, I mean, at first, that first night that I was on Southwest, that's when I met Lonely, and I met Aaron Molina, president of Ornament. At the time, I had no idea that he was president or had a club. But that night was one of the best times of my life. Since I bought my lowrider, I've been having the time of my life, and it's gotten even better since I joined Juarez. I mean, they treat me like family.
Yeah.
We hang out all the time. We have a great time, and I am, for once, I feel like for once in my life, I'm actually happy.
That's good.
And lowriding definitely helps, with that. But when I met them, I started hanging out with them, and after a couple times, I asked Lonely. I was like, I want to meet. I want to join Juarez, and he was like, I don't know. We don't really take very many people in, basically, and he said, we're gonna have to take it out for a vote. So they invited me to a barbecue picnic, and it was like, Chino, come over here. And they all gathered around, and they joked about this 13-second beat-in rule.
They're gonna jump you into the
club. So they all surrounded me, and I'm thinking, like,
you're like, wait, are you playing it for real?
It was like, hey, we want you to, we all know you want to be in a club. They went over the rules, they went over the fees, and then they asked every single member if it was okay for me to join the club. They all voted yes. And then Lonely was like, hey, 13 seconds, go. Everybody bum rushed me, and then they stopped and started laughing. We had a good time, but like I said, they even call me Chino. I'm not Chinese. I'm Korean.
Right.
But I take the name. I like the name.
Right.
But they, there's kind of a joke behind the nickname too, because I like say, I'm not Korean, I'm Chinese, but I don't care. It's all love.
Right, it's love, yeah. It's the way that we roll, right? Always making fun of each other. We got Gordo, we got Flaco Fail.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, since then, they've accepted me like family. They treat me like family. I meet, and like I said before, I had no life,
right?
Basically, and then and now my social network just exploded. I'm not just cool with the lowrider scene. I'm actually pretty popular with the tuner scene too.
Right.
So, and I have another car that I go to tuner scenes with, and it's a '09 Hyundai Genesis with a V8 in it, and I take that too. It's got rims on it, and I take it to tuner meets. But usually I surprise them with the lowrider because they don't expect the lowrider. I'm the only one showing up with the lowrider, but I go to those meets, and so my life has changed for the good.
That's good, man. So, traditionally I ask everybody about their school experience and things like that. But for you, my question is, man, if you got, if you could talk to kids right now that are going to be looking at this, that are thinking about getting into low riding, or they like low riding, or they grew up in a neighborhood with a bunch of low riding, but they're not Hispanic, they're not Chicanos, what do you tell that kid that has that bug, that low rider bug, but he doesn't necessarily think that he can because he's not a Chicano? What would you tell that kid?
I'd say it doesn't matter what color, female or male, doesn't matter.
Right.
If you love cars, and you love lowriders, then simply get into it. It doesn't matter. Our club, we don't have, they're not all. I'm proof,
right,
that I'm part of a Ornament, which is supposed to be, which you're right, is from Mexico.
Right.
Or is Mexico, so you think you'd have to be from there, but
right.
As you can see, I'm not even Mexican, and they accept me and embrace me as one of their own.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Chino, man, thank you so much for having us at your house, and I think we've been talking a lot about this Fleetwood, and it's time to show everybody what you got, but thank you so much, brother.
All right, man.
Well, we talked about this Fleetwood and how clean it is, and it is clean. So now it's time to show you this beautiful car. So Chino, tell us about your Fleetwood, man.
Well, like I said, it's a 93 Fleetwood. It only had 48,000 miles on it. It was gold colored. It already had gold trim except for the top.
Right, because that's a new top, right?
Yeah, that's a new top. But it was a gold colored, and it had a black top.
Okay.
And it did have the gold trim on the black.
Right.
But of course they had to redo it when I had the top. So I had the top redone, painted. Like I said, I knew nobody. So I had to turn to, believe it or not, Mako to do my paint job.
Man, I gotta walk away. That's good. It looked good.
Yeah, no, I mean, Mako has a bad reputation, but the thing is, they paint just like anybody else. And if you pay them enough money, which I paid a lot of money. It was not a $500-600 paint job.
Right.
This was a $5,000 paint job from Mako, and as you can see, it came out beautiful.
Yeah, it came out real clean.
And then Luxor rims, straight from the factory, or straight from Luxor.
And you got 14 by 6s, is that right?
14 by 6s in the
back.
In the back, and 14 by 7s in the front.
Yes, you don't have to deal with that rubbing stuff.
Right. I still had to get the clips.
Yeah, you gotta shave them down. Yeah, that's good.
And then if you want to go to the front,
I see your plaque right there, boy. You showing off already. You just got that one, right?
I know. I mean, I'm no longer a prospect as of December, and I expected a shirt, but they pulled this out, and they said that was the first fresh prospect to get a plaque, and they said my car was show ready. And I can't express how honored I am to receive the plaque already.
That's crazy. You need to get lonely to do a little engraving on it. That dude gets down. He did my windows.
He's actually going to do some roses. I'm going to have roses done here.
He gets down, man. He gets down.
I'm not done with the Caddy. There's more details I want to do.
You're never going to be done with the Caddy, bro.
You're right.
So that interior is clean too, man.
Yep, it's all original.
Like it's not even bit sat in almost. At least that back seat doesn't, man. And
custom steering wheel.
so what made you change the steering wheel?
I love wood grain steering wheels.
Okay.
You know, I hate to say it, but you know, Outkast is like one of my favorite rap groups. What was it? Big Boy said in one of the songs. He said, "If you can't afford rims or something like that, at least go get yourself a wood grain steering wheel."
So that's the first thing you got.
So my first that wasn't. But my first car when I was in high school was a Lincoln '87 Lincoln Mark 7.
Yeah.
And I had no rims, nothing on it, but I had a Grant wood grain steering wheel, and that was the only thing I had in that Lowrider. But
hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So you got rid of the airbag. At least it looks good. You get to see it up closer.
Right.
That's good, man. So it is clean, man, and I like the color you chose actually on your stripping here. It looks really good, man. And that grill, bro. Tell me about that grill, because I know that wasn't cheap.
No, you're looking at about a G for that. Now they're going for 2 Gs on eBay. Whew. Because the manufacturers went out of business.
They did. I know. And you guys bought the dies and stuff, and you can make them, but it takes them a while to get them to you too.
I got a story about the hood ornament though.
Oh yeah.
The hood ornament, the original one, was a 1930s lady that was about this big.
What?
The elderly lady had that on her hood, and it was just too. I always like the simple Cadillac hood ornament,
right.
So I took it off and I sold it on eBay, and I tried finding a gold one. Well, I found a used gold one on eBay, and when I got it, it was all tarnished and everything. So it wasn't any good. So I tried spray painting it gold.
Yeah.
I can already see where that's going at all. So then
it doesn't look like the cap, does it?
No, not at all. I learned really quick it was a bad idea. So then I went out on eBay again, and I paid like $150 for an all chrome hood ornament because I couldn't find a gold one.
Right.
And then I got the chrome one, and then like a couple weeks later, I hopped back on eBay and I saw the gold one, and I was like, screw it. So I just went out and I spent like, this is like $250.
Oh, I know, man. They ain't cheap. I paid about $400 for one for the Seville that we own, so I know it ain't cheap. Man, let me see that trunk, man, because I know you got a little something back there.
Yeah, I got a lot. Quite a bit. I ran out of money after I took out the loan to put switches or bags on it, so I couldn't do that. Like, I have a killer stereo, 212s. This nothing. I wouldn't say that it's competition.
Right.
My interior speakers are all new and replaced. It's extremely loud and clear as a bell.
Oh, it's a nice box.
Yeah, it's custom because the back of the trunk is slanted.
Right.
And so this is actually a smaller box inside.
Yeah.
And so what they did was they lifted it about 1 inch and scooted it back, and then they built this whole covering.
Well, it looks good, man. Well, you got a beautiful car and a great story, man, and I think very inspirational for the kids out there watching that, you know, want to get into this game, and like I said, maybe feel like they can't because they don't look a certain way. You know, I think you're proof that you can do that, and you're showing how, you know, how much of a family we are, and I'm super hyped. I'm gonna you know, interview some more of your members. I think Juarez Car Club is very unique. I've seen them everywhere. I was in Albuquerque, New Mexico at the Lowrider Super Show, and I saw them out there. I've seen them in Wichita. You know, I've seen them everywhere. So super excited to meet some of them. But thank you so much for showing us your car, man, and you know, we'll keep in touch.
All right, thank you.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for being with us at this episode, and we'll get another one going, and we'll see you soon. Good.